This question is from Corey asking me how I feel about property management junk fees. So, property management junk fees. I have a lot of opinions on that since I own a property management company. Uh, so, property management junk fees are, I honestly, I think some politicians just know that, it gets votes if you demonize landlords, people that, are in the business of owning a rental property and making money off of tenants living there. And tenants are not having resources enough to buy a property are somehow being victimized. I don't know if I agree with that, and I think at some point some politician must have termed the marketing term property management junk fees. And property management junk fees would be, I guess, defined as extra fees that one would have to pay if they wanted to rent a unit from a property management company or from a landlord. I can't speak for every property management company out there, nor can I speak for every rental property owner out there. As far as our company is concerned, do we charge tenant fees? Yes. And as far as I know, I think a lot of the companies actually are structured similarly to us. So we call them behavioral fees. So if you want to be a property owner and have us manage your rental property for you, or if you want to rent one of our units, our services are fairly inexpensive. But built into a lease, built into our property management agreement, are behavioral fees. So if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, at least according to that contract, that lease, then we're going to charge you a fee. Do I consider them junk fees? No, absolutely not. I consider them appropriate fees if you're doing something that we deem as incorrect. So the most common property management fee, or I guess what they're trying to term as a junk fee, would be a late rent fee. So a landlord has a mortgage, they have a tax payment, they have expenses on the property. Rent is often due on the first of the month. Many municipalities have a grace period. So Philadelphia has a grace period of 4 days. So your rent is due on the first of the month with our company. Philadelphia says regardless of when it's due, they have a 4-day grace period after that. After that point, we're going to charge the tenant a late rent fee. Do I think it's fair? Yes, absolutely. The owner has expenses as well. They need their money. It's unfair that a tenant is going to pay the rent late. I understand the reason why tenants rent to a bind and why they have to pay the rent late sometimes, but I don't think it's fair to the owner. So I don't know if I would term that a junk fee, but that would be the most common, property management junk fee, I guess, that what Corey was asking about. Other fees would be if, say, you live in a condominium and there's an HOA, and the HOA has issues of violation because the tenant has done something against their HOA rules. We have a behavioral fee. We're going to give you a fee if you're actually, per incident, if you're actually not behaving as our lease document outlines. Other behavioral fees we have, that you're prohibited from smoking in the property. If you want to break that rule, I don't think it's unfair. We charge you a fee. It's not fair to the owner because smoke is incredibly damaging to the unit. Let me see other fees that we have. What a few fees if you're not behaving properly. I just can't, off of that tip of my head, think of them. But again, I don't see these fees as, if you're to bounce a check on our company, insufficient funds, we're forced to charge you a fee because, again, it's damaging to the owner. Do I think it's unfair to the tenants? I understand it's financially difficult to the tenants, but is it unfair? If the owner's damaged, if we're damaged, then, and it's the tenant's fault, then it's the tenant that should be paid. So, obviously, I own a property management company. Obviously, I'm not a fan of the term property management junk fees. But yes, I do think there are fees that are typically behavioral fees, and I think they are somewhat fair. They're detailed. They should be well detailed in a lease. So it should be defined. And before a tenant decides to rent a unit, they should look through this document. They should see if they agree with that. They should see that there is a penalty and how much it's going to cost them if they actually get caught smoking in a rental unit. And again, I think it's very fair. If you're smoking in a unit and the owner asks you not to, and the property management company sent you a lease stating that you're not allowed to smoke in the unit, I don't think it's fair to the owner to face the expenses. In case of cigarette smoking, it gets incredibly expensive. So often paint doesn't encapsulate the smell. we've had to use ozone machines, which are actually damaging to the ozone. We've had to go in and actually clean ductwork. One case, we actually had to repaint the unit. It didn't work. We had to use the ozone machine. Didn't work. We had to clean the ductwork. Didn't work. We actually had to use a UV device, which finally worked. And it got extremely expensive. And this is something an owner has to pay. And it is a fair for the tenants to have to pay this behavioral fee. So, yeah, and I wish I had more of these fees off the top of my head, just to kind of give you an idea of the different fees that one might charge a tenant, for, again, as we define it, as bad behavior. But we also have them for property owners as well. I mean, if a property owner does something that we feel that's inappropriate, again, they're choosing to align with our property management company or not. If they want to infringe on the tenant's rights in some way, we have these fees. And typically, owners don't tend to do anything against the property management agreement. They understand it and they kind of agree with it, and they're using us for those reasons. But I mean, if they did want to intrude on the tenant's rights, and they put my company at risk by doing so, they should be facing a fee. So yeah, that would be a property management junk fee. My opinion on it is they're often fair, and they're often not going to be charged if everything is as it should be. All right, this is Joe White, Philadelphia property manager, trying to do my best to answer your rental property investing questions.